I'm Julie Hansen, CEO in the US for Babbel, and I'm here to talk today about the topic of disruption and whether we as tech companies should be proud of that word. First, let me give you, though, a quick introduction to Babbel, for those of you who don't know it, and it is very thrilling for me to be here in Berlin, where Babbel is a household name. It's not yet the case in America, but we are the #1 top-grossing language learning app in the world. The company was founded about 10 years ago here in Berlin. We teach 14 languages from the starting point of 7 display languages, and it's a subscription model, and that allows us to be transparent, ad-free, and focus exclusively on the user. It's also allowed us to be cash flow positive since 2011. So is Babbel a disruptive company? First, we should talk a little bit about what that means. What is disruptive? It is a much abused buzzword. It is the rallying cry for many startups. It's been stretched beyond its original meaning, but at its core, it does have the notion of referencing an existing industry or as its starting point. If you do a quick Google search for disruption, in fact, you will find some 61,000 results, including my personal favorite from CNBC, the business news show in the US. Disruptive company wages war on underwear. To me, this headline perfectly illustrates how that term has been stretched absurdly. And on a personal level, I can share that while I think underwear innovation is great, I do not want my underwear disrupted. And yet, it seems that nothing is off limits for disruption. Food can be disrupted. I personally enjoy this headline from my alma mater. This unbelievable tiny company is disrupting a $200 billion industry. I think there's some hyperbole there. We make lists of disruptors. We really celebrate this whole notion. And of course, we debate it. Is it good or bad? We have an argument at Babbel about this. We think it misses the point. So what is the actual problem? And here's a hint. Users don't care about disruption. As a user, what I care about is, I have a real-life problem. Can this technology or service help me solve it? Does it make my life better? That is what we care about as users. And that insight is at the core of Babbel. We started the company 10 years ago because, in fact, one of the founders wanted to learn a language and realized that there was no online resource to do that. Now, there were plenty, of course, analog options for learning a language that are perfectly effective. But the fact is that if you have a busy digital lifestyle, maybe it's not so convenient to attend a class. And what we know about digital technologies is they are amazing at removing borders and making our lives easier and making things more accessible. So that's what we set out to do at Babbel. And I think we all have dozens or maybe hundreds of examples on our own phones of things that do that, of technologies, of apps that we've downloaded because they made it faster to get a taxi or easier to get something done. Just the convenience, that is why you've given up your phone screen to various apps. And I can give you an example from an earlier internet era, just to bring this to life. Once upon a time in the world, there were gamers and everybody else, like your mom. And one day, you got an email from your mom, and she invited you to play Farmville. This was a very scary moment, but it shows how digital technology is erasing boundaries. That, casual gaming erased the border between serious gamers and the rest of us and made it accessible to everyone. And to a large degree, that's what we're trying to do at Babbel. We chose to focus on the user and invent a new technology, a new service, a new solution for this language learning problem. We did not look to take books or classrooms and kind of shovel them online, but rather to create something new that was effective using the digital medium. And this took hundreds of linguists, digital data scientists, learning science experts, engineers, designers, and it was very much an invention. When we started, the landscape was wide open. There was no reference point for us to draw inspiration from in digital. And our goal in doing all of this was to expand the pie. meaning it was not our goal to disrupt schools and disrupt teachers. In fact, we think they're great and they should keep doing what they're doing. Our goal instead was to bring language learning to everyone, to make it simpler for everyone to learn a language, whether they don't have enough time or money or maybe even dedication to go to a classroom. Babbel helps everyone learn a language. And our mission is to do that and to ensure that they can speak with confidence. So what does this all mean? From our point of view, real invention does not come from starting with a marketplace or an industry. It comes from looking at the user. And maybe a marketplace will be transformed along the way. That's a byproduct. The goal is delivering value for the user. And Babbel, being designed with that in mind, has been able to do that. So almost 3/4 of our users in a survey that we did recently of about 45,000 people said that just after 5 hours they felt confident having a short conversation using Babbel. So think about that. You could board the plane at JFK, study Babbel for 5 hours, still have time for a cocktail and a movie, and by the time you arrived at Tegel, be comfortable having a short chat with your taxi driver on the way to TOA. That doesn't mean you'll be fluent, you won't even be competent. But the fact that our users see real progress from the get-go gives them encouragement to keep going and gives us the encouragement that we're on the right track. So do our numbers. We have over 1 million paying subscribers. In fact, we have a lot of happy customers who are repeat customers. So on average, 1.5 subscriptions per customer. And our customers hang around for a while. I think the way we've achieved that, of course, is by realizing that the product matters. You know, in Babbel, in the 91 language combinations that we have over 53,000 lessons, which is a lot of learning, 9,000 hours of content. And as I mentioned, we have these incredible linguists in our company. You know, these, to me, especially as an American speaking 1.7 languages, let's say, the fact that we have teachers who can speak 5 languages fluently and know how to create these lessons is really amazing. And very gratifying for us in the US, it's working in that market too. In the US, language learning is very much a luxury activity. It's the motivation is quite different. But yet, it turns out that there is a large appetite for language learning, and the growing brand awareness and reputation of Babbel has helped us grow. In fact, we're actually over this year to date, our growth is about 200%, and it's accelerating month after month. And our feeling is that when we talk to our customers in the US and here, and we hear them say that Babbel has helped them, you know, connect with their heritage, or talk to their in-laws, or make friends on a trip, or just do something for themselves, that's incredibly gratifying. And we know that we're helping to fulfill Babbel's mission, which is to get everyone learning languages. So if you've liked what you've heard today, I would note that we have a booth over in the tech hall, and we have a lot of open jobs here in New York and in Berlin, and we'd love to hear from you. So thank you for letting me disrupt your afternoon, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you very much. Now we have some questions about your competition, I guess. Why should one choose Babbel over Duolingo?
It's a great question. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. The most important reason is it works. You know, there was a study done recently with the City University of New York, and it looked at the effectiveness of various language learning apps. It found that, on average, users studying Spanish with Babbel could learn a semester's worth of Spanish in about 21 hours, and that was 56% faster than with Duolingo, and 156% faster than with Rosetta Stone, which is a competitor in the US. They're not as well known here. I mean, there are many terrific things about the Duolingo product, but what I think we've seen is that courses designed by linguists are more effective. And there's also a notion in Babbel of teaching for learning pairs, meaning we know that if you start with one language and you're learning another, we leverage the commonalities or we explain the differences. And that really can't be done with crowdsourced learning.
Right. Very fascinating. And some people want to know if you've learned a language with Babbel yet.
My German has gotten better. I'm definitely not competent or fluent yet, but it is getting better. And just walking around the Babbel halls, my French is coming back rather nicely. So Spanish is next.
So do you need any learning partners if people can come up later, ask you some questions in German?
Ja, bitte.
Excellent. Let me see, what else? People asking what your favorite German word is as well.
Oh, Schadenfreude.
Lovely, great one.
What an amazing word.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
And is the march of the AI translators, Google, Skype, etc., a threat to Babbel's existence? You're getting the difficult questions today.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely something we think about, of course. And our feeling is that, no. That if your need for speaking a language is greater than just being able to read a sign or ask a quick question as a one-off, then a translator will never do the job. And I mean, imagine our conversation right now, if I had to hear what you were saying, and yes, I know it's in real time, but it's not perfect, and then that filter between us really removes a lot of the human connection.
Right.
So our feeling is that, and the nuance, the special communication that you can get by speaking a language well,
right.
That will never be replaced by AI technology, we don't think. It's not to say that those technologies won't take their place as an assistant to people who speak a language. Mm-hmm. They're helpful, but we don't believe they displace.
Do you think that these devices will be a little bit like having a Skype conversation with somebody else where, yes, you can do it and it's there, but it's not the same as being in real life with somebody and chatting the language?
I think that's exactly right. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I really like that.
Yeah.
Can we get a round of applause for Julie, please?
Thank you.
Thank you so much.